A lot. They're gonna love you a lot.
Success! Pudding!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the man we've all been waiting for. And waiting for. That man is Marcus the Motivator.
G'day guys, Marcus the Motivator here. Today we are here with Rayan Aridi of RAWdrum Music. How are you?
Very well, very well. Just taking everything one thing at a time, being humble, making sure I got my practice in today. Got the 3 hours in.
Well, that's good.
Now I got a few hours to chill, let my arms rest and have a nice interview.
Can enjoy it. Beautiful. Now today we just want to hear about your story and how you got it, how your music's going and everything about you. So let's start. How did you get into music and what you're doing now? How did it all start for you?
Well, music, essentially, it was an escape from reality, I found it to be, a lot of people were interested in movies and reading and, you know, doing their homework and stuff like that. I'm talking back in primary school. And I did a bit of homework, just passed. And But then I found, I would say music found me because there would always be Arabic music playing on radio because I have an Arabic background, you know. And that is, you know, that's where my parents are from Lebanon. That would always be in the back. And, you know, I'll be honest, that type of music, there's actually, mathematically, there's double the notes as there is compared to Western music or to a lot of styles. So that honestly, that opened my ears. That made me go, oh, okay, there's a lot to music. So then I would listen to pop music and stuff on the radio. I'd go, this is kind of boring. I wonder what else there is. And my friend showed me metal. I was like, wow, this is expression. This is heavy. This is, you know, something else, something different. And that was just your usual, you know, Blink-182, Linkin Park, a lot of Meshuggah, a lot of Tool as well. And then when I heard the drums in Tool, that made me go, yep, I want to be a drummer. Because he made the, the tones and the woods of the instrument speak. It was more of a musical experience, not just keeping time, you know. It was more of actually, you know, freedom and being able to play. So then when I heard this stuff, I'd put on my headphones and I made a drum kit out of, I remember this clearly, it was a barbecue, and I took the grills off and I laid it on the side, and that was another instrument. I put two different buckets together. I would put bits of water inside the bucket to change the tone. So that was my first drum kit. Then I went to Aldi and I got a $100 drum kit, and what was funny is the neighbor said, why'd you stop drumming? Because we moved the new Aldi drum set inside the house. I said, that wasn't a kit. That was, you know, and that's when I knew, okay, this is obviously something that I should keep doing. And slowly back and forth, I go back into the roots of, you know, the Arabic. And when that started happening, I got back into the hand drumming, essentially. And so that's how it all started. It was just appreciation, an escape from reality, and really just a way for me to feel comfortable in my own skin.
So you've talked a little bit about Arabic and Western music. What do you more specialise in doing for everyone out there? What do you specialise mostly? Well, is there any one thing you specialise in mostly, or talk about the range of music that you perform? Right.
There's something that people used to know me for, and when I was in primary school, I used to speak very fast. So I'm known to be type of like a speedy type of guy, like I get things done quickly, you know. So the one thing that I'm really known for and I get hired a lot for is for the belly dance music. You see, and that also came from, you could say, you know, getting sick of the guitarist of the band or something. You know, just being in a band setting and you're jamming with musicians. Now it's me with a artist of the body. She's moving her body in certain ways, and the drum interacts with that. And usually the drum is very fast, and it's just it's an Arabic-made drum. It used to be made out of clay and fish skin, so it was more of, it's a North African drum too, and that was used majorly for the pharaoh as well. He used to have a drum room, and that drum used to speak in many different languages. And so that's what astounded me, is also the mysticism behind this drum and this culture. And because I study upon those things as well, I find it to be very, very comforting. And why I specialize in it is because I play the drum kit too, and people know me for that. But with a drumstick, I have 2 sticks, you see. With this instrument I'm talking about, using my fingers, I have 10 sticks. That means I can go 5 times faster and 5 times more in my expression. And it's niche, but when people don't know about it, for instance, last weekend I had a wedding for a Polish lady, Australian born, she married a woman, which was just amazing. They don't know Arabic music at all. Me and this belly dancer, we rocked the party. They were all dancing, having a good time. So it's one of those niches that everyone can connect to. That's why I think people get me for that. That's my main forte for the moment. But the drum kit taught me time. The drum kit taught me discipline. So that I can never forget.
So you've done a whole range of performances. Talk about some of the differences between performing in a band versus performing more of what you're doing more recently with the belly dancer and all that stuff. Talk about some of the challenges and the comparisons and how and the differences and challenges with that. The things that you learnt and how you've adopted to what you do now. Interesting question. Very, very good question, actually. I wish I get asked these questions more often. Well, the first thing is, they have the saying, when you're playing as a drummer, you're the first in the band, you're the first to come in the venue, and you're the last to leave. Because you have to set up the drum kit, you have to sit it down, you have to position it in a certain way that you've learnt and adopted that way. So that is a big challenge, is finding a gig that really pays for your time and for your passion and for your efforts, because you're there, you're setting up your drums, the drums are prone to break, you got to tune them, you got to change the heads, but once you're on the kit, it's, this one teaches me patience, the drum kit. This one teaches me so much patience, because I'm building it, I'm doing it, and it can be a bit stressful at times. You get people coming up to you like, hey, do you want a drink? Hey, I'm, for example, I'm Matt, nice to meet you. And I've had to say, sorry mate, I literally can't talk to you. I'm doing my mapping run, I feel rude when I do that, but that's what the drums are. It's very, people kind of don't understand how serious every inch or every millimeter is. So that's the biggest challenge, is having that, and also utilizing the coordination of your 4 limbs. That's the fun part, actually, is that understanding that, wow, I can play 4 different rhythms all at the same time. So that takes a lot more practice. That takes a lot more patience. It takes a lot more diligence. But when it comes to, because that is usually with a band, for instance, and there's a lot more members, and it's, it's kind of like an avocado tree. It takes 18 years for it to start growing the avocado. And you get the goods eventually, which is great. But the thing with the percussion that I find is I set it up in 5 minutes. I can set up a pair of congas, some cowbells. I get just a part of the drum kit, just the snare drum and my Arabic drum, which is just a strap on. I find that to be more interactive with the people. I can walk around and have more fun with it. And I find that music, I can be a bit distracted as well, because I get told when I'm playing on the drum kit, why do you keep the same face? I call it my focus face. Because if I get distracted, the beat's gone, But when I'm on the percussion, I can interact with the crowd. I can have fun, and there's a backbeat behind me, usually a DJ or a saxophone player or
a flute or a bass guitarist or even one of those weird instruments from northern India or Bangladesh, there's usually something there either to back me up. So I'm not the control freak as I am with the drum kit.
Yep.
Yeah, so, either, but they both teach me in different avenues, and I wouldn't be the percussionist I am without the drum kit, and I wouldn't be the drum kit player I am without the percussion.
Talk about some of the experiences that would help people out there understand, okay, this is what it's like actually working in the music industry and doing performances for people, like how, and actually getting paid, like what do you have to do, like what do you have to do to make sure you're ready to perform whenever
question.
You get the opportunity to do that?
I like to think things simply. So how it worked for me is I thought, okay, this is, that first opportunity that you get to be on stage, for instance, that first opportunity.
So what was that like?
That first opportunity, wow, it was, actually it's really funny what happened. I went to a festival when I was a kid. It was at Federation Square. It's called Hype Fest. And I remember seeing the acts that were on, and it was meant to be a Lebanese festival, and there were some musicians on stage and I wasn't getting excited. The crowd wasn't excited enough. And I just thought in my head, oh man, I wish I was on that stage. I would, I could make these people dance,
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, I'm just a beginner, forget it. Then what happened was a couple of years later, I see that event happening on Facebook. And it was just on Facebook. And I was like, oh, okay. So I messaged that page. I messaged, so usually on a Facebook event, right, it shows who's hosting it.
So you just messaged the organisers of the event pretty much?
Yeah, exactly. Just with a little milligram of hope. I said, hey, what are the chances you have for a 15-minute, performance, because I've always wanted to play at your festival, and they said, oh yeah, we can organise that. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to get on that stage and just to get up and rock it. I knew I'd have nerves. How do you get rid of nerves? You face them. Yeah. So that's one thing you got to acknowledge. Your nerves, you got to, they're pretty much an illusion. Nerves is just energy. And if you're scared of energy, then you got to learn a couple of things, which is to face it, and to condense it and to summarize it into a peaceful feeling, to bring it to the people, So that's one thing I learned, it's basically stress relief. And so I talked to the organizer on the phone, essentially, and, as I said, money wasn't an issue. Nerves, got to face them. I reckon I could do it. Yeah. That's cool. And 3, just be nice. I was just nice to him on the phone, and I get, and just be professional, and listen to the person that's talking to you. Really listen to what they're saying and understand their motives and see if you can help out, So, I got to the gig. It was outside Crown. It was the South Bank with the big red steps. Big stage. I had a big drum kit, and I was with my first ever band, which now isn't, together. It was just a little high school band type of thing, just a bunch of mates jamming. Guess what happened? The vocalist dropped out because I got this gig literally 5 days before the date.
Yep.
So the vocalist dropped out, the guitarist dropped out. I was like, I looked at the bassist. I said, if you want to do it, I'll respect you forever. That's what I said to him. He said, I'm in, man. So he got his bass guitar, and he it's funny because that week he just bought this big ass pedal board, massive pedal board, and so he can loop things. And I said, okay, learn some Red Hot Chili Peppers medleys. Let's bring some classics to the people, some classic rock. Yep. Some Tool medleys, and we'll do a couple songs that we've been doing, and we'll also do an improvised jam. You see, and improvising.
So a bit of everything.
Yeah, exactly. Because improvising is like playing tennis. Miles Davis was on improvising, and it's there's room for failure. So if you can conquer that, perfect. So we were on stage, we rocked it, man. I remember we were rocking it, our families were there, people were loving it, people were stopping by to watch what was happening, just two 17-year-olds just rocking it on this stage. And I looked at my drum kit after the gig and I said, it took me 30 minutes to set this up and I only played it for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I want to ask if I can play with anyone else. That's when, my courage just roared, and I found that it was just second nature. I just wanted to help out, since my kit's there. I find an Arabic band there.
Yeah.
We rock it too. They said, jump on, jump on. I rocked it with them. I had a gig with them the next week.
Yeah.
Because they took my number down. They said, you're a great drummer and I love how you just jumped on, So that's how I would say is to do it, is to take that leap of faith, to face your nerves.
Yep.
And mostly just basic things like look nice, smell nice, and be nice. You know, because you want to make your I don't like to say it this way, but customer, even if they're not paying to see you, you got to make them feel nice. So eventually all these gigs just came naturally, and I was known as that drummer that can just improvise on the spot. And then they're like, if he can improvise on the spot, I wonder how he goes when he knows what he's meant to do.
Yeah.
And then all these more gigs came out. And it was just a matter of that perspective, is just to really stay humble and to accept, not anything, like I wouldn't take any Turkish music gig 3 years ago. I would take it now because I've learnt it. But it's to take that step and to be versatile and to really just practice to your heart's content. Practice all styles. Don't be a sheep. Don't play the same 4 chords. Don't play the same instruments the same way. Play it differently. Get up there, and sometimes when you're up there, you think you're a fool or something. You might, I'm playing this the wrong way or something. No, you're playing it differently, and that's freedom of expression, and that's what we have to bring to the people. That's what people want to see, is someone breaking a bit of boundaries, in the rules. So really, that's where most of the work, it actually came from, pushing myself to learn new things and showing people that I'm motivated, and just networking, but not being too pushy, not saying, for instance, I had a belly dancer, this was just my birthday. I was just chilling out at a shisha cafe, and they had really good food there. And this belly dancer was dancing, just amazing. And she was walking she was walking back to the, back to the kitchen after her set. I didn't say anything to her. I just looked at her. As just amazement. And I said, thank you. She said, that's all right. She winked at me and hit me with her hips. And then, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, okay, that's cool. And then she started talking to me. So I didn't force myself to go, hey, what's your name? Oh my God, can we jam? Oh my God, you're so great. I just wanted to jam with you. You're so cool. And, to not be forceful, to just be friendly, be friends with everyone, That's basically it, I think.
Do you think the experience you had and all this learning, do you think that actually helps you go out and learn more and more new things each time? Does that help you, having all this experience, like playing a certain drum one way versus playing a slightly different instrument? Do you think those experiences in the past help you with what you look at doing down in the future?
Yeah, it really does. Like, for instance, I used to be really good at being a solo artist, for instance, because I would always practice by myself. Then I would join bands and, things wouldn't work out, for instance, because I wasn't ready at that time, Then I had to learn how to radiate with bands and how to, flow with it and to make it a nice experience for your ears. And then that taught me as well that is basically energy, and the way that I come across to people, to strangers, to, customers. If I'm, for example, working a part-time job at Kmart or anywhere, hospitality or anything like that, this music has taught me, the ability to improvise has taught me the ability to improvise to, I I can get, a job easily just because I walk into the job interview with confidence and the ability to improvise and to understand emotion. So music helps you understand emotions, and I feel like that has opened many avenues in my life to understand, the psyche and to understand people more and how they, react to certain tones and certain emotions. Yeah. So it's taught me really just to be kind. Also, that is the main thing. It's just to be nice to people. Because that's what made me successful as a musician, and that's what is constantly making me more successful. Yeah. Is just making people laugh, making people smile. So I take that to most avenues. Probably not a funeral, but yeah. Then again, I do like my sad, classical music. Yeah. So I feel like it's done a lot. It's really weird. For instance, if I want to learn like Indian music, or if I'm studying it, which I actively do, when I'm studying it, that night, I'm gonna make a curry. I'm gonna search a curry recipe. I'm gonna make it all. I'm gonna hammer those, those cloves. I'm gonna grind that pepper, put that cumin in there, and just like that, I can understand Indian culture a bit more. Things like that. So that's what I mean by opening up different doors and possibilities. Is that, it's quite unexplainable. It's just something that you keep on flowing with, rather.
Well, how do you go about promoting what you do and who you are and all the music? How do you go about promoting who you are?
Yeah, like word of mouth, really.
Yep.
That's the biggest one.
Yep.
Just being there, being at that club, being friends with DJs, thinking differently, because I take my percussion, with DJs, for instance, they love me as an improviser because they're playing their beats. Yep. They say from this time and this time, I'm going to play some down-tempo stuff. I want you to just jam along, So that's how I promote. Basically, I just go to these gigs, obviously invited, sometimes uninvited, just to party. And most of the time they're like, dude, do you have your drum on you? I'm like, yeah, I had a gig before, so it's just in my bag. Boom. There's a photographer at the event. They take a photo. It ends up on social media somewhere. They ask, who's this guy? He played pretty well. Yeah. Then I get a message. I get an email, let's see, like photographers are really good. They've got me a lot of work before because they take photos of me and people ask them who they are because they took a photo of me. Yeah. Also, I would say by networking, just being honest, reliable, and a hard-working individual. That quote came from me. Sorry, that did not come from me. That came from Michael. I was trying to remember his name. His name is Mickey G. He's been in the industry for 25 years. And that's what he told me, and that's what seems to work. Is just to be honest, reliable, and hardworking. But when it comes down to marketing, not to overdo it, obviously, just to have a few videos up on every different avenue you can, such as your YouTube, your Facebook, and your Instagram. Keeping that up to date and showing people that you're not just doing that, and you're doing other things. I post funny photos of like me and my cat. I post videos of me and my cat having a jam, or something, showing, people that I read books, stuff like that, that I'm not just a bloody drummer, Yeah. That really helps with the marketing, is that, there's a lot that's out there that you can market to. By the end of the day, people use social media. A lot of people just use it just to waste time. So essentially it's really just going to the events, meeting festival, organizers, meeting photographers, being friends with them, networking, that's really it. It's even just going to parties and me just playing. Like, they want to see the goods before they hire you. They don't want to risk it, It's like playing poker. No, that's not a good idea.
It's a different analogy. Yeah. So what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, I have a telephone number. I have a Facebook page, RAWdrum Music. That's RAWdrum RAWDRUM, music. RAWdrum is one word. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Ryan.